Andrea, I'm really excited to sit down with you. You caught my attention giving this talk in November at a conference about your story of getting into claims. And everyone's got the like, I got in by accident, or maybe my parents were adjusters or agents or something, but yours was by accident or otherwise was really gripping. And I wanted to share that and this progression that you've had since then, because it's a pretty amazing start and even more amazing trajectory. So I want to get into that, but tell us a little bit about who you are and what you do.
So I'm Andrea Bessling, and I'm in claims field leadership. And I've got a pretty diverse background, but overall, I'm in property. Most of my background is property, and I work on the carrier side. And yes, I'm excited to share my story because it is, while it's an accident, like people say, it's actually it's not. It's destiny. I believe that. So um, I got my
No one
career.
talks about insurance as destiny. I want to get into this. Yeah, tell us that starting moment.
Yes, you probably heard me reference the fact that I was a self-funded college student. I was a mother, a working mother, and a college student. So um, I didn't realize it back then, but I was really hungry, literally looking for a way to provide for myself and my family.
Yeah.
And had gotten a job straight out of college that I just didn't love. And my husband and I were expecting our second child. Um, so I was working in investment banking and just absolutely did not enjoy it.
Yeah.
And thought, my goodness, I've spent all this money, I've put all this time in to get a major in finance, and I can't stand my job.
Hmm.
So being the bold individual that I am and was, that just kind of really had a longing for something deeper, I took a leap of faith and quit my job and started to go on the hunt. And the like I said earlier, it was a leap of faith because I was 8 months pregnant,
Oh.
and that's just not a historically good time to go on interviews and look for a job. And I
Yeah.
found this job that was labeled like outside property trainee, and kind of in a leap of faith,
Do you
just
have any
but
clue what that meant at the time?
I did not know what it meant, to be honest with
Okay.
you. I knew that it referenced construction and that my family had run a construction business, and I'd been around it since I was a kid. I like to remodel and do things like that on my own, and done that since I was in my teenage years. So I felt like I could come up with enough lingo and be able to be witty enough to have a conversation around it that maybe I could talk them into seeing me in that role. And I remember preparing for that interview. I got the call, got the interview, and pulling off squeezing in a suit with a big basketball belly was quite
Yeah.
the feat. And then, thinking in my mind, well, I wonder if they'll notice. Well, of course they're going to notice, right?
Yeah.
But having the nerve to go to that interview, and I remember walking in the room and seeing the gentleman that I would be interviewing with, and just being really intimidated. He was taller, he was older, he was kind of had a stern look on his face, very serious guy. And turned out he wasn't, but that's how my perception of him was. And
Sure.
being raised in a single parent family without a father figure, that was a pretty big deal to me, and very intimidating. And I was wrong, and I found that I had just judged him really harder than he judged me, because I got that job. I got that job offer, and they thought I would be great at climbing roofs and getting in crawl spaces. So
8 months pregnant.
8 months pregnant.
Wow.
Now, the truth is the reason why it's destiny is because of the timing of it. So this was in the winter months in November, and their training program actually started in March. So it gave me almost exactly time to deliver my daughter, to have maternity leave, and to come in with a fresh start. And go off to Pennsylvania from Nashville to train. So that's why I say it was just perfect timing. It was
Yeah.
a place where my heart was pricked enough to want to do something deeper and be open to doing that.
Yeah. But I mean that you painted this image on stage of like this woman, extremely pregnant, climbing a ladder. And obviously it came after that, but yeah, it was not, I don't think anyone would have put the pieces of that puzzle together to say, oh yeah, this makes sense, this works out. But it did. And that's how your career started, but you've come really far since then. So when you talk about destiny, I hear that. Like you did start on this journey, but it wasn't just, you weren't just going with the current. Like you were rowing. You did a lot of things to keep moving yourself ahead to get to where you're at.
Yeah, I think there's something about like initially not having a choice, right? Like looking at with the road in front of you and saying, how am I going to take the next step? What is it that I want out of life? And sometimes you don't know exactly what that is, but you know that there is something more that you want. And that's kind of what I kept chasing. What more is here? And what I loved about the opportunity in claims, and I hate that we don't talk about claims careers more often. And I'm so glad you're doing this. So thank you for doing that because
Yeah.
it is a wonderful career. I've made a great living for my family, and it has been life changing for us. So the thing that encouraged me most was to look around in that office at the time. I know we don't have offices like that much anymore, but look around and see all the women, all the diversity, all the differences in ages, the different types of people that had made careers for themselves, and then just to see the career path,
Yeah.
right? So there was a lot of places you could go. If you started here and maybe it wasn't a good fit, there was, if you could just do that good for a little while, if you could do that well for a little while, then you could take other paths. And so for me, the reason why I think I've had such longevity is because I've been able to take on increasing responsibilities over time. If I can come in and I can be good at this, if I can work hard, then I'll have this opportunity over there. And it's just this cycle, a good cycle that you can get in and advance in.
So it's a combination of investing yourself and putting the work in and delivering quality work and being there to raise your hand when the opportunities come up and give yourself the credit that, you know what, I can do this and I should try for this and not just, oh, well, this is too big for me. I couldn't do this.
Yeah, and it's I can't take all the credit because obviously someone had to give me those opportunities, like the gentleman I referenced at first who believed that, in spite of what he saw with his natural eyes, with me standing in front of him, could see my fortitude and the grit that I had. And I had people call me a young whippersnapper, tenacious, all these different things. But I think that drive, if you're driven and you're looking to advance in life, this is a career path that you can take.
Yeah.
For me personally, it fed my appetite. And I would have never known that I had that kind of appetite if I wasn't challenged. Property claims, the interesting thing about it is when you're in the field, it really develops your character, who you are as a person, and you see what you're made of because you're placed in real life situations. You're going in and out of people's homes. You
Yeah.
don't even realize how people live until you're exposed to so many different properties. And you really, at the same time, while you're growing as a person, you're able to help people. You're coming in their time of need, and you're able to bring a paycheck, bring a check with you. Bring encouragement with you, bring compassion with you, give them grace. And that's the beautiful thing. So for me, it was destiny because it was sharpening me in my business acumen. It was growing me, getting me more well traveled, being a girl from Nashville, Tennessee, who hadn't left the state much. I was just growing leaps and bounds professionally, personally, just in so many ways.
Yeah.
And I had no idea that that was going to be something that I would be doing. How would I know that?
Yeah. I love this story. And that's why I wanted to do this with you. And I think perfect timing, in this month that all the other things going on, it's a chance to stop and just say, well, what about this career path and where could it get you? And to hear the reasons behind it and how it played out for you, I think is really inspiring. So I hope people are latching onto that. And maybe there's someone early in their career in investment banking that or anywhere else that might be looking for more purpose and to be that person who gets to be at that moment where someone really needs help and you can be that person. That's tremendous, a tremendous purpose to be able to live every day.
Absolutely. If you're looking to make a difference, this is a career that you can make a difference in.
Yeah.
It's important though to understand that you're going to have good days and you're going to have bad days, right?
Yeah.
So what this also does is it teaches you how to temper your emotions. And there are not many jobs that really build your character like a claims job
Yeah.
because you may be in a heated conversation, you may be in a conversation with someone that's devastated, and you have to be that person that comes in and is a sounding board, is a stable force. And so it to me, this is a job where you have to take the bad days with the good, and you can't just be led by your emotions. You have to be determined to make yourself better. You have to want to be refined. And if you don't want to be refined and changed by a career and a lifestyle, then this wouldn't be the one. But if you want to come in, be changed, grow leaps and bounds, and be a better, well rounded person, this is a career that will do that for you.
I love that. That's the message I want to leave this on. Thank you so much for some time, Andrea, and for sharing your story and the inspiration. I hope that people latch onto it.
Absolutely. Thank you for doing this.